Good morning, everybody, and thank you very much for coming to attend our panel. I'm absolutely delighted to announce the first session. We have absolutely fantastic speakers, and I believe the topic will be inspirational enough to initiate or to spark a very lively discussion afterwards. The topic, please to come in. The topic of our panel this morning is Communicative Styles Across Borders and Disciplines, Europe and Beyond. Now, we are ENIEDA, that's an acronym. We are the European Network for Intercultural Education Activities. This is just a group of collaborators, academic collaborators, and we have sort of high hopes, I would say, for our network, but at the moment it is really just a very kind of loosely defined group of collaborators who are very enthusiastic in general terms about intercultural communication in general terms. Most of us are linguists. Again, most of us are interested particularly or working in the field of intercultural pragmatics, but not all of us. But I would say absolutely the common ground, as it were, is really intercultural communication. We are very passionate about that because we feel that, okay, yes, there is a research aspect. We like what we do and so on. But there is also another aspect, if we really understand each other a bit better, I believe the world will be a better place as well. So there is a sort of altruistic, if you would, reason why we do what we do. This is basically the idea of this panel this morning, was basically to, well, ultimately promote, but definitely to make ourselves more visible, to promote the network, but to make ourselves a bit more visible, to make sure that you know what we do. And of course, you're very welcome to join us in any shape or form you want. So you can be as involved or not as you would like. What we are discussing or exploring in the wider sense of the word today is this framework of theoretical approach of communicative styles, culture-specific communicative styles. The framework actually has been developed by our very distinguished colleague, Professor Tatiana Larina from Moscow, who's been with us from the very beginning of our sort of work. So she's one of the founding members of ENIEDA. She's an expert in intercultural communication, specifically intercultural pragmatics, and she's been working with this concept of communicative styles for quite a number of years, and she's published a lot in that area. So our feeling was, well, to basically promote it, to let you know what we do and why we feel this is very important. There is a wider, as I said, concept, it can be applied. We believe it is very flexible as a model, as a framework. We believe it is very flexible and it can be applied to various different concepts. That's why we decided to divide our sessions. There will be two sessions, that is, so to divide them, to have two different focuses, as it were. The first one, which will be opened by Professor Larina, will focus specifically on this concept, so culture-specific communicative styles, practical applications and pedagogical implications. And I would really like to draw your attention to these two strands, if you would. Most of us, actually all of us, are educators. We all really are also passionate about teaching. We also want to make sure that our students are good intercultural communicators. So there will be, we will be exploring these concepts, and I would really be very happy if our discussion afterwards perhaps tackles some of these issues. But there are also practical applications, so it's not just for teaching purposes. There will be some practical applications, and some of our participants this morning will particularly tackle that aspect. So what do we do with it? Is it relevant in general terms? Our afternoon session is slightly different, but again, within this framework. We are going to look at daily interaction. What exactly does that mean? And try and sort of disambiguate some of the, pragma-semantic features of that. And again, there is this concept of transgressing boundaries and disciplines. So again, yes, we call ourselves the European network, but there is no reason to stop there. And I believe, as we discussed the other day, there might come a point when we would like perhaps to decide to change our name to International Network, because we do have colleagues already from India, from the United States, from Malaysia, and so on and so forth. So there is this concept of really transgressing boundaries. We'll end the panel, so this is the afternoon I'm talking about. We'll end the panel with a general discussion. The discussion will be led by our discussant for today, Professor István Kecskés. We are extremely grateful, obviously, for his participation. Professor Kecskés is also the chair of our International Scientific Panel. Again, many thanks to him for accepting our invitation. So without further ado, I would like to give the floor to our keynote speaker for today, introductory lecture, that will be given by Professor Larina, who will basically introduce us in more detail to this concept of culture-specific communicative style.